Hi everybody, Cathy McLeish here again, and I want to talk a little bit about the special times that you go into when you're early sober and maybe what you should be thinking about and what you should be maybe putting in place to take care of yourself so that your sobriety is intact when you leave. So, it's getting towards the holidays, but you can use this information anytime if you're headed towards a wedding, if you're just newly sober and you're going to a restaurant, if you're going to the in-laws, whatever it is, all of these things are tender times for the newly sober person. And here's why, especially at the holidays. When we go into situations with people in unfamiliar places or even familiar places with family members, it will often affect all of the instincts I've talked about in other videos all at the same time. So it will affect our social instinct. How do we fit? Where do we fit? What are people thinking of us? We shouldn't be worried about that, but we do. And it will also affect our finances, okay? The holiday time, if you don't have money, that's one thing. If you have money and you spend it, what are they gonna think about that? If there are all of these checks and balances that come at the same time that make the recovering alcoholic just question themselves right and left. And when we question ourselves, the most instinctive thing for us to do is to take a drink so we can relax, okay? All of these feelings coming at us are new and they're different and they will settle down. That's what we need to know and remember. So this isn't the first holiday season we're going to go through. It isn't the first wedding. It isn't the first birthday party. It isn't the first trip to a fancy restaurant. So we need to pace ourselves, and our expectations of ourselves and other people will have a lot to do with our success, our peace through these days and situations. So let me just talk a little bit about that. If I am going to a new and different situation in sobriety and alcohol is not going to be my answer, then I have to set myself up for success. Maybe I go with somebody who actually understands thoroughly what I'm trying to do and that one drink is not a possibility, not even one. And so that person will kind of be my accountability partner, and I will have them to fall back on when I get a little nervous or uneasy. If I don't have that person, I might need a vehicle. I might need my own ride. I might need to be able to say up front, I can only stay for a little while, but I'm sure glad you invited me. Those kind of things will set in place kind of like an escape route if I happen to need one. And I can need one for the smallest reason. And it's okay. In the beginning, it's okay. I mean, it's vital so that I can just have another day, another hour of sobriety, and then I will worry about the next occasion when the next occasion comes. I don't have to be everything to everybody these first weeks and months. And so I'm going to pace myself, I'm going to protect myself, and I'm going to ask the people that care about me to just kind of trust me on that or to support me on that. And, you know, the other side to that is I'm going to have to follow through and not be doing something that I told them to keep me from doing. In fact, they're not responsible for me or my actions. But if, in fact, I do ask their support, then I need to be responsible on my end and not be tempting fate or playing with fire. I have a lot of respect for alcohol. I have a lot of respect for my alcoholism, and I am 37 years sober. I got sober at 27. And so even in that period of time, the more I know, the more I learn about the disease of alcoholism, the more respect I have and gratitude for the fact that I've been able to stay away from a drink for that long. But I don't take things for granted. In this past year, and you might think that I shouldn't be in this place at 37 years sobriety. In this past year, I was at a wedding that made me very uncomfortable. There was a lot of drinking, there was a lot of crazy, and I, needed to be there for a certain reason. And then after I did that, I didn't need to be there. So I said to my husband, I'm uncomfortable. And we're both in recovery, and he knows what that means. So we just made an early exit, and it was fine. We worry about what everybody else is thinking about us. And you know what? They're just like us. They're thinking about themselves. I'm usually thinking about myself. I'm not worried about what everybody else is doing. And I might ask about somebody if I'm having considerate moments. I am, compassionate and empathetic about what's going on with other people. But nobody really goes to events and keeps a little check mark next to who's coming and going, who's leaving, who's staying, and what they're doing while they're there. So what I do needs to be what is important for me. So as a recovering person, I need to check my drinks. I need to stay close to my drink. I need to know that there are people like me before I was in recovery that would just as soon see you drink as to stay sober. I had no regard for people's sobriety. I did not know what it took. I didn't understand what it was. So in my 20s, I would have no problem trying to get somebody else drunk so that they would be with me instead of against me at any kind of party. So if you, do nothing else, understand that there are people who do not understand the path to recovery. They don't understand abstinence, and they will say, just one drink? Why don't you have just one? You've got to taste this. You've never had this before. All of those things are a simple no. Somebody in sobriety taught me no is a complete sentence. You can even say no thank you, but it's a complete sentence. I don't have to say I'm watching my weight, I on some medicine. I don't have to give 34 excuses for why I choose not to drink. It's an option. It's an option for every individual in every situation to drink or not to drink. So if you choose to drink and I choose not to drink, that's okay. It's okay. In fact, it's very okay for me because I am on the road to something better than I've ever been headed towards in the past. So the holiday season, it will have things, pop up here and pop up there. It will have people bringing you a bottle of wine because they don't realize that you don't drink anymore. And before, that was the perfect gift for me. So be ready. Be ready to just be, polite and say thank you, and then hand it to your spouse and say this needs to go. And I don't care what you do with it. I just don't want to see it again. So we have simple solutions. We make it more complicated than it needs to be sometimes because we worry about everybody else and what they're thinking. And really, as my mom used to say, I would have my hands full to take care of myself. And I do in early sobriety, but it's a really good thing. Taking care of myself is also taking care of the people I love, because if I stay sober, they're going to benefit also. And that might be a conversation that I need to have with the people closest to me. I know I've caused you a lot of stress. I know I've caused you sleepless nights, or I've, cost you money, anxiety, pressure. And I want to do something different today, just one day at a time. So I'm going to walk through these holidays and just one day at a time, stay away from a drink. If you can support me, that would be awesome. But I just want you to know that is my goal, and I'm going to try to achieve it. So as we go through the holidays, these simple things, they may sound extreme to some of you. Take one, leave the rest. If you think they aren't extreme at all, put them into place and add to them, because in the end, it's about you and your sobriety. And did I mention that you don't have to go? That you could be polite and say, that's not going to work for me? The only thing that I would, guard us in recovery against is isolating. So maybe I can't go to that get together. Maybe there are too many family dynamics that are just gonna set me off. And that might very well be the case, because I have a lot to take care of on my side of the street. I have a lot of repairing to do. I have a lot of resentments to get rid of. And I'm not gonna do that in the first months of sobriety. So maybe I need to pace myself. Maybe I need to say no to an invitation or two. I can't be everything to everybody in early sobriety, but I also need to not get into self-pity, to not isolate and say, poor me, I can't drink, so my life is over. No, it's really not. It's really only beginning. And so the holidays will pass. it will be another day. And we give so much power to alcohol and to New Year's Eve and alcohol and Christmas and alcohol and the work party. And it doesn't deserve all that power. Take the power back. I have power over what I choose to do this holiday season. I have power over where I go. I have power over the kindness that I express about even rejecting an invitation or saying no. And I have power to get on the other side with the support and love of other people. And if those people aren't my immediate family, if the damage is done there and I have some, repairing to do in those relationships, I need to have a support system. I went into recovery and I had a support system of people that I didn't know the month before. But you know what? In recovery atmospheres, in places where people have been to hell and back, and they want to help you to get on the other side, people share fast, they share deeply, and they share intimately. And you know them well, and you can count on them when you call. If you just make those first efforts to put out your hand and say, I'm new and I could use some support. So those kind of recovery places are, available. They are a phone call away. They are the person that started recovery 2 years before you. You can give them a call. And yes, we have to step out of our comfort zone. But we work so hard to stay drunk. We work so hard to get that alcohol so that we didn't have to deal with any of the things we didn't want to deal with. Can we work? Can I work that hard for a new life? Can I work just proportionately a little bit more for this new life like I did for that old one that served nobody, especially me? So good luck, but do not count on luck. It will not show up when, your back is against the wall. Have a plan. You deserve to have a plan. You deserve to come out on the other side. And remember, the holiday season comes around every year with or without us, and we can get through it, and then it will be another day. So don't give it more power than it deserves, and please take care of yourself. Cathy McLeish. Subscribe, follow, and if we can, share a little bit about the information and the knowledge that we're learning about alcoholism, the alcoholic that's still practicing, the one that is in recovery trying to build a new life, and be part of the solution. Thanks.